Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial. Martin Houston Show fan page on Facebook. It's a free for all Flashback Friday, which means we can talk about any and everything today. So, welcome you into the program. But we also take a little flashback to maybe hit a topic that we talked about earlier in the week that we did not get to dig in deep enough, or maybe we left something a hanging chad, as they called it in the state of Florida a few presidential elections ago. We'll go ahead and get that hanging chad today. So I invite you to be a part of the conversation at 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. The Taco Casa hotline is open for business. Taco Casa, quality, taste, value under the biggest cactus in town. Great option for lunch and or dinner. And I'm telling you, if you like sweet tea on that shaved ice, then you need to go to Taco Casa, and you'll feel like you're getting that homemade sweet tea and no watered down, unsweetened northern version of sweet tea. Not at Taco Casa. It's going to be the best you can get. Taco Casa, quality, taste, value under the biggest cactus in town. TacoCasa.com. Remember that this is the day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. Just a couple stories hitting from yesterday, of course. You heard it right here on on the Martin Houston Show. Some big news potentially happening, and that big news hit yesterday is Alabama picked up a big commitment. But before we get into that commitment conversation, as well as a couple other highlights, just welcome in Joe and the team behind the glass. Good morning, guys. How y'all doing?
What's happening, Martin? Having a great day, and happy it's Friday. So looking to clean up some of the topics from the week and flashback and see what we got today.
Awesome. Well, Alabama picked up another new commitment for the 2022 class. Amari Knobloch, listed as an athlete by Recruiting Services, gave his commitment to Alabama on yesterday. 6'4", 225. He's played tight end at Lakewood High School, but according to Hank, he could end up in that or several other positions, and is one of those guys that's expected to continue to rise up the board. Currently sitting at like the number 41 athlete and number 492. But you know that Nick Saban there must be see something really special in this guy, Joe, to not have offered him prior to camp, see him in camp, him being a 3-star, but they're allowing him to commit literally a couple days after leaving Tuscaloosa. Have you seen any film on him?
Only a camp highlight or two. We now have a couple articles about him on Tide 109, and Jacob, in his article, found a couple of camp clips where his athleticism is on display. And just off his athleticism, I think he looks pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's what I would say. He's definitely. I don't know how good of a football player he will be, because like you said, you have to make sure he lands in the right spot. But as you said, 6'4", 225. He moves really well. Good feet, good speed, good acceleration, and he seems to play. You can tell some guys play to contact, and some guys play through contact, and he seems to be one of those guys that's able to do that. So that's big time get, because his stock was starting to rise, and Alabama is able to get him on the dotted line, and he'll just continue to grow from there. Of course, we got a big weekend coming up this weekend, as Alabama has some of the top players in the country for the 2022 class coming to town, as well as the top player from the 2021 class in JTT, the big defensive lineman out of California. Will Alabama be able to lock him down and add to an even more impressive recruiting class? Joe, you just think about the fact that, Joe, at the end of February or middle of February, when Alabama signed that class, it was pretty consensus. This is one of the greatest classes from a numbers, or not one, the greatest class from a numbers standpoint to ever sign, according to, most recruiting services. Since that time, Alabama has added the wide receiver from Ohio State. They've added the punter from Troy. They added this decent linebacker from Tennessee. And they got the punter, the Australian Ruse punter, who may or may not be great. And they could potentially add JTT to the class. And none of those guys go toward those numbers. Those are just extra players. And 3 of them are going to play day one and will most likely be the starter at their respective positions. We need help at wide receiver. Got it. We wanted to up our game at punter. Got it. We wanted to replace Dylan Moses, not just from an athletic standpoint, but I think from a mental standpoint. And we have a guy who spent the last couple of years being a field general and quarterback for Tennessee in the exact same defense. I don't know if Pruitt changed any terminology or not, but the way they play the game and the way he played it, got it. Add JTT to this, and it's I don't know. They're already trying to change the rules, so I don't know what they're gonna do if we get JTT. I don't know what the NCAA will do. But before we get into the NCAA, because that's part of my flashback, let's bring in Pat and see what he has to say. Good morning, Pat. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, sir?
Good morning, sir. But what you think about that? Which one's the one from the mine side? The guy that we used to have him come on and talk about things, how the mental aspect of it.
Yeah,
I think coaches can care of the mental aspect of this football team. That he's bringing in all the pieces. Hey, I mean, he seems to be the master of the process. Martin, that if there was ever a process, this particular team and this particular class that's coming in is part of the future in order to get that 2 to 3 more titles before he decides to go to Lake Burton.
Well, they talked to him yesterday and asked him how does he stay rejuvenated. He was over in I don't know where he was physically at, but he was on a radio station over in Georgia, and he said how he keeps young is after the last game, the next morning he pretty much gets ready to go by realizing that he has a new season, a new team, and a new challenge, and he hates losing. And he didn't sound like a person that was really tired of that process, as he calls it. So.
Yeah. He didn't sound like he was ready to go fishing.
No, he didn't.
He likes playing air guitar. He really does.
He likes playing what?
He likes playing air guitar. I've seen him playing air guitar on his pontoon boat.
Okay.
Listening to the music when he's playing with where he's acting like he's strumming a guitar along with the music.
Yeah.
But anyway, hey, but more what I called about is the new tight end that we just got. Nick Black, I think is his Is that how you say it? Black, or is it?
That's the way Hank pronounced it. Amari Black.
Okay, Black. I got you. That he doesn't have the stars, but he has the accolades that he has offers from the major players in college football. That and from what I understand, in the next time that they rearrange player positioning in the top 200 or so, that he's going to move way up the list.
Yeah. What's his name said he hasn't been rated. He got rated early last year, and they've seen him at camps and stuff like that, but they've not had another re-rating period since his initial rating. And before that, he had only been to a couple camps. So, but they say that at every camp or every 7-on-7 that he's kind of participated in, he seems to be the star. So he walks away with accolades and highlights. So it's another one of those, that Nick Saban sees talent, and undoubtedly everybody else started seeing it too. And COVID is a very interesting, impact on kids. On kids, he seems like he could be another one of those Will Anderson type players that could, by the season be a 4-star, and by the end could be, a 5-star. Because that's what happened to Will. That's what happened to Will Anderson. He didn't camp a lot supposedly, and started catching some eyes at the end between his junior and senior year, and then his senior year film, and then he went out to the a lot of the showcases and the different things that they have, and then his film at I don't remember which one he did, Under Armour or whichever All-Star game, and he was clearly the most dominant player there from the way they said it, and they bumped him up, and it seemed like they were correct in that assessment.
Oh yeah, I mean Anderson, Anderson, it's a definitely a real deal. Anyway, hey, I think and I just wanted to talk about the fact that he was being highly recruited by some of the major schools, and that just because somebody's a 3-star doesn't mean anything at all. It's whether or not they can play on Saturday.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So, but he seems to be.
I'm hoping this is. Yeah, what I'm hoping that this is one, like the defensive end that we got out of Birmingham over there. That was a 3-star that turned out to be a quarterback killer. I think it was he got the LSU quarterback knocked out of the game, and then he knocked the quarterback out of the Texas game for us to go on and win the national title. Oh yeah, he was a 3-star, bless his heart.
Yeah, but, Quentin Williams was a 3-star as well.
Yeah.
So was Rashad. Rashad Johnson was a walk-on. So there we go.
Yeah. That's right. So once in a while you get that diamond in the rough. Okay, but it's a whole lot better when you start off with Jimmy's and Joe's than not having them to begin with.
Absolutely.
Have a blessed Mr. Houston.
All right, thanks, Pat. All right. Yes, Alabama getting Mr. Amari Black, big tight end out of Florida. So we make a swap with the state of Florida. They and the Florida Gators, we get Mr. Amari Black. They get Mr. Shamar, linebacker that people thought would commit to Alabama, but chose the Florida Gators. But Hank told us yesterday that's still a possible live option, as he surprised family, friends, and those closest to him with the timing of his commitment. So we'll watch that as well. Coming back on the other side, we'll continue this free-for-all flashback edition of the Martin Houston Show.
testing, free battery charging, and replacement batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes AutoZone America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
At Northport Auto Supply, we understand there's nothing worse than a dead battery. So to keep this from happening, be sure you periodically check your battery, including the terminals for corrosion. And if you ever need help, then come by Northport Auto Supply and let our knowledgeable professionals check your battery for free. Northport Auto Supply has the area's largest inventory of batteries in stock, and we'll even install it for you at no charge. Northport Auto Supply. Why go anywhere else?
This is a big deal. Now at healthcare.gov, millions more people can get affordable health coverage. Due to the COVID relief law, 4 out of 5 customers can get a plan for under $10 a month with financial help. From doctor visits to preventive services to prescription drugs, these are quality plans. You can do this. You can have coverage as soon as July 1st if you sign up now at healthcare.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Beautiful Alabama summer days in store for us today. Good supply of sunshine, some puffy clouds, and warm temperatures in the upper 80s. Fair skies tonight. Look for an overnight low near 69. Or the same tomorrow, but there will be a small chance of a shower or storm with a high near 88. I'm meteorologist Bill Murray on Tide 100.9.
It's 72 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott Smith and Sophomart Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at sophmarkdesign.com.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show, the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring, encouraging, educating, equipping, and empowering your most valuable assets. We love the opportunity to get you empowered today. We can help you with a Lunch and Learn pep talk or speak at one of your events. Go to martinhouston.org. That's martinhouston.org. You can find out a little bit more about some of the most presented topics. All you have to do is click on Pep Talks. And then if you want to book, just click the Book Now form and the team will respond to you. That's the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring, whether it's church, conference, business, or sports related. Be glad to partner with you to empower your most valuable asset. That's Empowerment Center at martinhouston.org. All right, let's continue the conversation right here on the Martin Houston Show. Thank you so much for being a part of the program. Pat talking a little bit about recruiting. Of course, Alabama having one of the biggest weekends ever. And so let's talk a little bit about a couple things from the weekend or a couple things from the last couple of days. Devonta Smith surprises his mother with a new house and car. So Devonta Smith, shout out to him for taking care of mom in terms of the big surprise. So kudos to him as well. Then also kind of a neat, the College Bowl started back. It's a game show hosted by Peyton Manning, co-hosted by Cooper Manning, and all three brothers, throw Eli into the mix, are serving as the executive producers. And on Tuesday, they had the big game, and it was Alabama versus Auburn Showdown and the Iron Bowl. Yes, anytime Alabama and Auburn competes, it's always a news story, and Alabama took down the Auburn Tigers in the college bowl game. Pretty fun game. It seems like it's going to be an exciting or a different version if you kind of, I guess, trivia type of game, pitting colleges against each other. So kudos to those guys as they fight it out for scholarship money. Alabama moves on and will face Michigan at some point in the future. So getting back to sports-related stories from earlier this week, Alabama excited, Georgia excited. All the big boys are excited in terms of the 12-team playoffs because the best teams in the country just got a stamp of approval that they will have an opportunity consistently to have a chance to play for a national championship via the playoffs, as it looks like the train has not only left the station, but it's going to be pulling into its destination before long with the 12-team college football expansion. You may be for it, you may be against it. Not sure where you fall on that pendulum of good thing, bad thing. In some ways, I really like the expansion. I've always said that I don't think that college football is Division I is one of the, even though the college football 14 playoff is better than what they used to have, it's still one of the worst for sure type champions being solved on the field because I'm still not sure with 13 people making a decision but having to choose only 4 teams if it's legit. And maybe in the future it won't matter much like the NCAA where there is a committee and people making a decision. And now we think that's one of the greatest tournaments ever. I wonder what it was like when they first started picking the basketball tournament and they were making seedings and ratings and rankings in the NCAA. Maybe they had some of the same issues that I have sometimes with the 13 teams. I just think when you have 13 teams, you have former coaches, ADs, etc., biases come in, and people get left out that may or may not be as deserving as some of the teams that get in. And I'd rather the conversation be around whether the 10th, 11th, 12th best team or the 6th, 7th, 8th best team be left out instead of the 3rd, 4th, and 5th team. So that part of the expansion I do like. But Joe, I got a question for you. Are the Alabamas of the world more excited about this expansion? Because for the most part, barring some type of collapse, the SEC type conferences, whichever one of the Power 5 conferences proves to be the better in a given year, they're pretty much guaranteed to get 2 to 3 guys in based on the rating systems and the ranking systems that we've seen as far as the college football playoffs. And from everything I can tell, they're not going to change the selection process. They're just going to select more teams. Is that correct?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah.
So the six conference champions will pretty much be automatically selected. But you're right; they won't change the selection process for those 6 at-larges, and so whichever conference is having the strongest year will probably get extra teams in through that avenue.
So, which one is most excited, Joe? Is it the SEC type conferences that is guaranteed to probably have multiple teams, or is it the group of 5 that now knows that no matter how good the Power 5 is, at least one of them will have a shot?
Honestly, Martin, I think it's going to be the group of five teams. The group of five teams who have wanted a way into the playoff for the last 5, 6, 7 years, but have not really had a path to the playoff. You create a path to the playoff. I know that it's going to benefit your Ole Misses and your Floridas and your other SEC schools outside of Alabama, but I think that it opens up the door for the tens of 20s of 30, the group of five teams that might have a chance to make the playoff.
And now we hadn't asked this, but does Gus Malzahn get into the playoffs quicker at UCF now than he did at Auburn?
I think he definitely has a chance to.
Yeah.
I think it's a great question, and he probably has an easier path into the playoffs at UCF than he ever did at Auburn.
Yeah, think about that for a second. He leaves Auburn, and now he may have a chance to play for another national title faster there than he would have had if he stayed at Auburn. So, and like I said, I'm okay with that. Do I think that any of those teams do I think the ultimate end result is going to be much different, Joe? If we were to go back 15 years, do and put all of the champions that we've had, national champions, in there, do I think we would have any new names? Not that we wouldn't have different champions in a given year, but do you think that we'd have any new names in that list of 15? Would it still be Clemson and Alabama and Ohio State? Maybe Georgia gets in, or maybe Florida State when they were hot, and LSU. Would some of those may swap, but do we have any new names in that list?
No, I think that your ultimate champions over the last 15 years would still stay the same. And really, over the next 15 years, I think your ultimate champions will probably still be your top-end schools.
Right.
I really don't see upsets at that top level happening too often. I think where you're going to get your intrigue is in that first round where your 5-12 matchup, your 6-11 matchup, and so on and so forth. I think that those games will be pretty fun to watch, but your ultimate champions will probably stay the same.
And that's part of the reason I'm like, okay, I wanted 6 teams because I wanted, and my 6 kind of was the 6 that's gonna get in kind of automatically. Okay, my thing is, if you got a thing out there and you got conference champions, give each one. If we list the Power 5 as a group and the group of 5 as one, let's have the conference champions, much like the NFL. All conferences aren't created equal. All conferences don't play each other, but all conference champions have an opportunity to get in. Now, some of them get embarrassed, and then they start rebuilding and restructuring. And that's what. But one of the things I do like about the 12, Joe, is I think the first round games may be more interesting than the semifinal games we've had in the most recent college, because most of those games have been blowouts. Would you agree? 1 and 4 and 2 and 3. Most of the time, those have been blowouts.
I'm pretty sure the average margin of victory in those games are 20, 21 points. I did the math several months ago. I'm pretty sure it's 20.
So we those who are football enthusiasts, and one of those games were relevant. Were you one of the guys that watched the bowl games?
Oh, I'm gonna watch. I'll watch the bowl games, even if the Las Vegas Bowl, the New Orleans Bowl, the Meineke. I'll watch them all. It doesn't matter if it's tiny school U.
Right.
I watch the bowl games because it's football and it's on.
Yeah, and so that's why I think the first round, first round, I think it will be where you'll have some storylines and more storylines and some potential more upsets. But I still think you're going to get to to the 1-4. Now, here's the interesting part, Joe. I think the first and second round will generate more. Interest is not the interest may be the right word, because you could very well have the conference champions being seeds 1-4, right? You could have a Alabama, say when Alabama lost to Auburn when they were 12-0. In that type of scenario, you could have an Alabama getting ready to play a conference champion because they were in that 5-12 range. You could have them getting ready to play and have just as lopsided or favorite for the non-conference champion. So I think it's going to create some intrigue. But as you and I think we both agree, when it's all said and done, we're not going to have a lot of new names getting. We're not going to have a lot of first timers getting national championships. I think every so often, if you take a 10-year window, you might have one or two surprise teams. Now, we don't know who those teams, Joe, are going to be. The part we don't know is how will the additional money, how will the additional opportunity to play in the playoffs, how will that spread out the talent in college football? Does the fact that more teams, and we'll go to break on this, Joe, and I'd like to get your thoughts on it, on two things. We've been kicking the can on the scholarships, so we're going to get to the scholarship count and whether or not the 12-team playoff needs to expand the number of scholarships in conjunction with it to make sure that we have quality football. And does the 12-team playoff reshift or spread out the talent pool potentially to more schools than just the favorite 4 or 5 schools that are perennially in the college football playoffs? I want to get your thoughts. If you want to be in on the conversation, 205-342-9904. Give us a call. The Taco Casa hotline is open for business.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. No wrecks and traffic pretty quiet as we kick off our Friday morning. Please drive carefully, and if you do see conditions, just give us a call, 205-886-8886. Townsend Nissan has the best selection of new cars, trucks, and SUVs in town, and they really need your trade. I'm Captain Ray.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Overflow Express Wash. Their mission is to provide great customer service with a showroom clean car and an exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you need to check out the premium wash packages, which start as low as $12 and go up to $20. They also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, just double the regular premium package, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. They're located on Skyland Boulevard right next door to Alabama 1, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look forward to making you a part of their team.
Fear, guilt, indecision. These raw feelings are common when users witness an opioid overdose. As a bystander, fear and indecision may race through your mind, but it's vital that you call for help. Alabama's Good Samaritan Law protects those who act in good faith in situations like an opioid overdose. Find out more about Alabama's Good Samaritan Law at VitalAlabama.com.
Nick Saban calls it the process. John Maxwell said that everything rises and falls on it. And Coach Wooden said it's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes the difference. What am I talking about? Leadership and personal development. Is your organization, your school, your church, your family, are they receiving the proper level of leadership development and personal development? If not, the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring can help you with that. We have our Pep Talks, which is a 1 to 1.5 hour lunch and learn, which we can customize to meet your needs, or we have some topics that we present that we know can help your organization. And if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring and coaching, we can also assist you with that. Visit peptalks35.com. That's peptalks35.com, or send an email to martin@martinhouston.org. That's the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
All right, Martin, you're hot in 3, 2, 1.
All right, let's kick things off once again, and we want to thank Alabama One together, wrapping up, coming up on the close of the big mortgage promotion, bigger savings, opportunity for you to save as much as $2,000, or not save, but get as much as $2,000 back in cash. No admin, processing fees. Great rates, great service, best of the best, 3 years running. That's Alabama One Credit Union, looking for an opportunity to offer you a great mortgage rate refi. All you have to do is go to alabama1.org and complete an application online, or stop by our main location right there off of 15th Street, and we'll be glad to assist you. That's Alabama One together. And hey, while you're there for a mortgage, pick up an auto loan, get some assistance, and we'll be glad to help you with the insurance for both of those as well. So visit alabama1.org or hop over to alabama1insurance.com. All right, Joe, a couple questions I had for you as we were going to break. Gave you a little time to think about it. Now, we're going to talk about the talent spread and then the scholarship. Does the 12-team playoff potentially have the effect of kids choosing to go to other schools because now they may have a legit shot to get into the playoffs without just being at Alabama, Clemson, and Ohio State?
Martin, I think the idea and the hope is that it does spread the talent out, but I'm not really sure that I'm not sure that I'm going to say that it will, because that top end talent, the talent that's really making a difference, the 5 stars, those guys, while making the playoffs is one thing, I think the main goal for those gentlemen is to make it to the NFL. And if you go to Clemson's, Ohio State's, and Alabama's of the world, you're on the fast track to the NFL. I think that's still the primary goal for that top end talent.
Yeah, that's the interesting part. But the only one that has consistently got the top end talent, the 5 stars, at a high rate to the league, has been Nick Saban. And Alabama. A lot of the 5-star guys. I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me correct myself. The way the 5-star thing works is they project and say these guys are first-round talents. They project that from their high school years. That's kind of how they determine this 5-star has the ability to be a 5-star. I mean, to be a first-round talent in the future, right? Nick Saban has consistently been able, at a much higher rate than everybody, more than all the other schools combined, his 5 stars are going to from high school to college to the first round. If I'm out there recruiting, Joe, I'm saying the more exposure you're going to get, because we're now going to be in those big games, we can do it as well as Ohio State. We can do it as well as Clemson. We can that's now. I don't know if that's gonna like the 5 stars in California. Now I'm gonna start telling those guys don't go all the way across the country to get that opportunity. You can stay right here at home because we're gonna be in those playoffs now. I don't know if it's going to help or hurt, but now you add that, Joe, to name, image, and likeness. Does that sway the talent and maybe spread it out a little bit more?
I think each little bit of this, each little bit helps and helps spread the talent out because, yes, I think the name, image, and likeness, in combined with the expanded playoffs, will, I think it should. You'll have a couple guys like think about the quarterbacks that we've got: JT Daniels, Bryce Young, DJ Uiagalelei. The 3 guys right there playing at 3 power schools: Georgia, Clemson, and Alabama, right from California. And maybe the chances are that one of those guys stays home. And I know JT Daniels was at USC already, but one of those guys stays home, and maybe one of the running backs, that stays home. Different guys. I know that California right now has the top corner up and coming for 2022. Maybe he stays out west. It's going to have to be a slow trickle effect to kind of siphon some of that talent away from the Alabamas of the world.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to be an immediate process, Joe. I think they'll have to do some things to show that it's not just talk. But I think when you start adding all those together, it gives an opportunity. Now, the question in the can that I have been kicking for, 2 weeks now? Not 2 weeks, but a week or so, is about scholarships, Joe. They're asking these kids to potentially play 17 games. On the surface, more scholarships or no more scholarships?
Yeah, I don't think that. I think the scholarship limit of 85 is perfectly fine. I know that maybe you think they need more for depth purposes, but if you think about what Alabama's already got, you've got 2 or 3. You've got the capability of rolling out 10 to 15 offensive linemen. Now, whether they're ready or not to play at a high level is a different story. You look at the Alabama quarterback room, and you've got 3 or 4 guys right there that you can play. Now, whether they're ready to play at the same thing, at top level or not, that's to be determined. And it goes down the list with each position group. Running back, you got a bunch of guys a bunch of bodies already. So, I mean, last year you think about each and every year there's a bunch of players on Alabama's roster that never even saw the field, didn't take one snap. So I think the depth factor is maybe oversold. Where because the Alabamas of the world have plenty of depth, and whether that depth is quality or not, that remains to be seen. But I think that the 85 scholarships is plenty.
And so why do you think they moved from 70 to 85?
When did they move from 70 to 85, Martin?
It's been a long. I mean, they didn't. I don't know the exact number. I'm saying, why do you think in times past they moved up the numbers? I don't know the answer to that. I'm just asking.
I don't know the answer either. I know that originally there was no limit, and then it sounds like they put a limit in that was lower than 85. It sounds like they've tried to find that sweet spot over the course of time.
Yeah, and we say that we say depth, but you really don't have depth. You have numbers, and that's what you were saying in terms of the injuries or whatever. They really don't have depth. They just have numbers, which is totally different. And you're going to, I think, start seeing more and more young players have to play more, and that may be a good thing. Maybe not. And of course, then you go. The NFL does it with 53 players, right? In a practice squad. So 85 should be enough. The difference is that those bodies are a lot more mature. They're a lot more they get a lot more training time. They get a lot more opportunity to take care of their body and a lot more rest. We've seen at Alabama that no matter how many scholarship players you have, depth at certain positions is always a challenge. And the players may not even want more depth, Joe. So that this may be me saying that they have to do something to help, because the wear and tear on these young men's bodies is real. And will more scholarships necessarily offset that? I think it does, because you would have more in each class, and you're not forcing all 18, 19-year-olds to be ready sooner, which I think is going to happen if you go to 17 games. Now, to me, that's just a natural offshoot. They're asking them to play more games. And you've heard my numbers before. The average game today is 85 to 90 plays a game. 80 to 85, whatever, say 80 to 85 plays per game. When I was playing, it was 60. So you can see that a regular season in terms of just pure number of plays, and this is not the case in the NFL. The NFL, that's the part that no one's talking about, Joe. The NFL plays, but what's their average play per game? Probably a lot like college football was, 60, 65 play. They don't have that speed of the game and the number of players. And to me, it's hypocrisy for the NCAA to continue to talk about player safety, yet they keep making rules that allow offenses to run 80 to 85 plays. Just the regular offenses now. The hurry-up offenses are running 85 to 90-plus plays a game. And when you multiply that out, it's the equivalent right now. If you take a 12-game season, every 3 games is the equivalent of the number of plays we played in a regular game. So a 12-game season really has the number of plays of a 16-game season already. And now they're talking about adding potentially 4 more games to a season, and they're worried about wear and tear. I think it's hypocrisy in terms of scholarships, but your biggest concern, Joe, is not just the injury or the depth. Your biggest concern is if they do that, if they even add 5 more scholarships or 10 more scholarships. We saw what it did this year, right?
Certainly, you're looking at an even greater consolidation of talent.
But think about what happened this year. Was this year not a really a test run in what we were just talking about? Alabama got to have what? Additional guys. Nobody left. Some guys came back. This upcoming season, we have a few extra guys that would have been gone as well, right? So that's what would happen continuously. And Alabama had guys that I think came back last year that typically wouldn't come back. They didn't have necessarily more numbers than they would have had. They will this year because what we got, Chris Owens, Brian Robinson for sure, our 2 veteran guys on the offense would have been what?
Yeah, they'd be gone by now.
They'd be gone. So we're kind of getting an experiment in that. And I think that's what your big concern is, that the rich would get even richer because Nick Saban would kind of have that Bear Bryant effect, wouldn't he? He'd just go out and recruit the best players, and then he'd have even more best players, right?
Absolutely. It makes it difficult. I mean, we talked at the beginning of the segment about the disbursement of talent, and adding more scholarships would hurt that effort.
Yeah, let's go ahead, Joe. Let's just go ahead and run through, and then we'll take a little longer break at the end. That way, if that's okay, can we do that?
Well, perfect. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. But Joe, and that's the thing is, I want more scholarships, but I don't think that's going to happen at all. I'm just trying to think. My thought in more scholarships is not necessarily just for more scholarships, but just thinking, how are they going to offset what they're asking these players to do? I mean, they like the NFL. Think about the pushback the NFL gave Joe. How many years have they been trying to go from 16 games to 17 games in the NFL in the regular season?
Oh, tons of years.
Yeah, and they have fought it tooth and nail, and it finally passes, right? Where does the college football playoff stop? I mean, the college game stop when you think about the NFL, and the NFL right now has lighter contact rules, less contact rules in terms of how often they hit. They fought to have that 17th game because of wear and tear on their body. That's all they have to do is their job of playing football. They don't have school. They don't have homework and football all mixed together. But yet that's what we're putting on these players. And so sometimes when you hear me say, man, they need more scholarship players, it's just so that they can have a little bit more. It would lessen more scholarship players. Would lessen the grind at practice in terms of reps and how much you are exerting in practice and all of those things. And I'm just saying the combination of that will help. It's going to be interesting to see if these smaller schools, Joe, if they run out of gas, even if they're good, will they run out of gas?
They probably will.
Yeah. I mean, you think about it.
That's a part of the disparity in college football. Alabama won't run out of gas. The Clemsons won't run out of gas. And your Georgia Techs, your Ole Misses, the schools that might end up in those that at large, they're going to run out of gas for sure.
And so, but and you don't think that the scholarship extension is going to really make that much of a difference because the extra guys they get, you think more of the extra guys will still go to the top teams, right?
Yes, definitely. So you see Alabama has the pick of the litter. They're just going to take 5 extra guys, 10 extra guys, and their class is going to be even better.
That'd be and I would have agreed with that 100% and still kind of lean that way. But back to what we said earlier, will the name, image, and likeness potentially spread it out to some of the smaller schools? Does the UCF get better because of all of their money and their opportunities with their 60 billion alumni? Who knows? Scholarship limitations, it's not even on the table, so that's just me making noise and talking about it. But the expansion of the playoffs is definitely real. Name, image, and likeness is real. Educational benefits are real. And pay for play was set up to become real by Judge Kavanaugh. It's been a great week on the Martin Houston Show. Alabama got a great weekend coming up in terms of recruiting. We'll have those stories to break down for you on Monday. I'm Martin Houston. That's Joe Gaither. This is the Martin Houston Show. And we thank you for being a part of the Sound of Bama Sports, your show, your team. Trust in the Lord always. Lean not your own understanding. All your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Roll Tide and have a blessed day. And we'd love to see you on Sunday at Harvest Church.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Have a good weekend.
You too, Joe. Have a great one, man.